Hello and welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to GBHL YouTube channel. Here with your host GBHL Jamie, and I've not been joined by James today. Unfortunately he's sick and is in bed, so firstly, apologies that you've got me for speak for any question. It's probably not going to be 2 hours long this time. Apologies for the quality of the camera. My camera's not as good. I'm waiting for James to buy me one. Hint, James, buy me a camera. So let's get it started off with Josh Baynett. He says, "Hi, sorry for the confusion with my question about replacing Frodo. What I meant was, if you could replace Frodo with anyone to destroy the ring, who would you choose? I ask this because myself and my friend are having trouble thinking of anything useful that Frodo actually does. The only thing we can think of is walking across Middle-earth. Who can I have destroy the ring? Doesn't matter who does it, as long as someone does it. Now that's out of the way, my question for this week is, what do you think about Games Workshop releasing 3 model resin kits for $40? I don't know the price in pounds. I have no thoughts on it really. It's their business, they can do what they like. It'd be nicer if it was cheaper, but the quality's there, it's good. You know, if you want the models, you have to buy them. So, like it or lump it. Also, I understand that the message involving Frodo and Bilbo is that it doesn't matter who you are, only what you do. I guess that's true. Next up we got JT at Awkward Battles. He says, "Hi guys, my question is regarding Dane of the Iron Hills and the hope of a new model and profile. To represent the age difference between him and the current War of the Ring profile, what stats and changes would you like to see?" I'd like to see him go up to at least Fight 6. His Fight 5 currently is a huge letdown for him. Maybe drop his defence to 8 and give him Burley or something, although his axe does that anyway. He's pretty decent for what he is. I think just making him Fight 6 would be the key bit for him, and keeping his 12-inch stand fast would be nice as well. JT says, "I think he should have a special rule, Flying Headbutt, similar to Mahad War Camel Impaler rule, but use it more than once per turn if the first model is killed. It would definitely represent the movie, but it's a slightly biased dwarf opinion." Yeah, something like that would be cool, you know, some sort of special strike, but you're delving off too much into the realms of nonsense, to be honest. Next up is CernShaw100. He says, "Not a question, but I'm a Rohan player, but would rather use Theoden and Éomer Marshal of the Riddermark rather than Éomer Knight of Pelennor and Sons of Eorl spam. You, CernShaw, are the right kind of player." Next up we got Will Wright. He says, "Hi guys, can Jamie read this question?" Don't really have an answer. I can't not read it, can I? "I'm not sure whether or not I'll be able to come to Desolation and Stockport in April due to work commitments, but I'll definitely be coming along to tournaments later in the year. I would like to bring the Balrog along to at least one tournament. Don't worry, I'm aware it's not competitive. I would just love to see such an epic model in use. Will would also like to see how James's all-mounted Rohan deals with it. They wouldn't go near it and they'd shoot it, is what would happen there. And my question this week, the Balrog in my opinion is one of the most powerful beings in the Third Age who would win a fight between Durrance Bane and Smaug. Not in game, because we all know who would win that one, Smaug, because Balrog's got no fate. Hands down, even with the size difference, I think the Balrog would kill Smaug. Anyway, keep up the good work." I guess... yeah, it has to be the Balrog. Yeah. That's the answer to that. Next up is Safari Angle. He says, "So, wow, I've been out of the loop for a while now. At least I'm back. And I have a rules question." I want to get the rules book. Where is it? It's not there. It's not there. I'm not going to get my rules book. How weird. Where would it be? What's that? Travel case. Right. Ugh. "If Isildur has the ring on and is invisible, can he still shout with me when he does a heroic move?" Well, let's have a look at heroic moves and see what it says. Courage. Heroes. Might. What can I use? Might. Heroic actions. A heroic move. A heroic move enables a hero to move before other models, essentially defying the usual priority system. This heroic action can prove extremely valuable. If a hero declares that he will attempt a heroic move but is charged before he can perform it, the move is cancelled. A hero performing a heroic move may choose to shout "with me." In this case, note his starting position before moving him. Any friendly models within 6 inches of that point may also move, so long as they end their move within 6 inches of the hero. Any model in range of the heroic move that does not move the part of the heroic move cannot choose to move later on. Yes, so it would seem that he can. Is the answer to that one? Interesting. Thank you, Zafari Angle. Oh, and of course you play Rohan. There must have been some talk with James. Next up is Jason Province, or is that Province? Yeah, a bit down my screen, made look the I and the N like an M. A Romy here. No, it's not an M. No, don't even want to read your question now. Good content, guys. Keep up the good work. My question this week is: if you could have 2 heroes on your side to fight the 9, who would you choose? Boromir and Aragorn, Legolas and Thranduil, Gimli and Dwalin, Radagast and Gandalf, Samwise and Merry, or Eomer and Erkenbrand? Oh, Radagast and Gandalf, will they can fend off the magic. Yeah, definitely. Kurt Leach, can you move on from a heroic combat if you use a brutal power attack? Yes, you can, Kurt. Acthon39 says, thanks, James, for getting back to me so quickly on Damien's blog. Didn't really expect an answer, but it's great to know that you guys always have time for viewers. Yes. So my first question will be, why would you take a wound if you have a fate to save it with? I've seen you guys do this a lot. You've been wounded twice, and you fail a fate, pass one, and then take the last one even if you have a fate remaining. I don't see why you do this. If you're saving it for later, won't preventing a wound now or later make no difference, besides possibly not letting them use that last point of fate? Okay, so there's a little bit of theory to this, and it plays out just like you would say, you know, it literally makes no difference. However, what it means is, let's say you've got a hero who's got 2 wounds, 1 fate. He gets wounded by shooting, let's say. Okay, so if you take that fate and you pass it, great, you know, you got 2 wounds. If you fail it, then let's say you roll 3, do you use a might point? You probably do want to, and maybe that might use used too early in the game. If you roll a 2, do you let it through? If so, that hero's going to be a huge target next turn because he's going to have 2 might, but no fate, so it's worthwhile expending a lot to get rid of him. Obviously if you roll a 1 and you fail it, then you fail it, but that's beyond it. So what you might want to do is just let that first wound through, so that the opponent knows you've got 1 wound, 1 fate, with your might remaining. Most of the time this will happen early on in the game, so it'd be when you've got a cheap or cheeky wound through shooting on one of your heroes, you just let them have the wound and keep your fate. I personally also like to do this. I don't know why. It's just something that's happened over time, is that rather than, you know, going for it with all the fate now, okay, he's out of fate and he's got 1 wound left, I'd rather go, okay, well now he's got 1 wound and 1 fate left that can potentially save something later on in the battle at a more crucial time, I guess. So yeah, there's no real reason why, it's a bit of a psychological thing, I guess. And you've got some answer to James's question there. Also, my 3 movies would be Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Dawn and Rise of Planet of the Apes, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, cool. Bradley Cobden next. He will rally under Theoden's royal standard. I've not watched last week's Speak for Any question. I feel like I'm missing a huge Rohan drive by James, probably, to make everyone try and like him a bit more. This week's question is, why did Gandalf not even think that Sauron was evil when he knows he lives in a huge pointy dark black tower? Well, he lived in a huge pointy dark black tower beforehand, so why would he change? Shaylin Hardy, he says, hey guys, this is my first question. I was wondering if you had any advice for a teenage girl trying to get involved in the hobby. There is not a lot of support in Alberta, at least where I've looked, and there are definitely not a lot of people my age. What do you guys suggest I do? I love your videos and keep up the good work. Go on to the Facebook page for the Great British Hobbit League. There were quite a lot of Yanks on there for that. So you can always put the question out there. Go onto the One Ring location finder. Try and meet up with people, at sort of a Games Workshop or your friendly local gaming store, your FLGS, and try and get a game in there. Honestly, the best thing to do is try and find tournaments to attend to. This game isn't as popular as others, so chances are you're going to have to be willing to travel. So if and if you're worried about some meeting weirdos, then ask someone to come along with you, basically. Say if you can get a doubles game going or something. Next up is Sackbot10. Oh, by the way, Shayla, you're now in the loop, so you have to ask a question every single week for the rest of your life, if we answer it. Next up is Sackbot10. He says, "Hi guys, my question this week is which Hobbit character, not film, is your favourite and why?" It has to be Pippin, just the comic relief of it all. Or that, or Fatty Bulger, because he sort of sacrifices himself almost to make sure the Nazgul don't catch up with not sacrifice, but slow them down. And next up we got Tane Morehouse. He says, "Hi James." No. "I'm new to the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit SPG, and I would like to ask what colours and shades I should use to paint the Palace Guard." Go check out Damien's hobby vlogs, he's painting them at the moment. And by the way, my name's pronounced as if it was spelled Tani. Just because people don't know how to pronounce it. Oh yes, sorry, apologies, Tane. Tani. Tani Morehouse. Also I'd like to ask, will you guys think of doing more SPG magazines if you haven't already? And that you guys on the channel are awesome. Well, the SPG magazine is actually part of the channel. That's Damien and Tom's little project. So I believe they are, and hopefully they'll have some big news coming up on that in the future. Next up is Johnny Graham Beggs. "Hey guys, my question is, what is your favourite Orc and Urk from the Lord of the Rings movies?" It has to be, the Orc with the spear in the Charge of the Rohirrim on the Pelennor Fields. He was sort of the second rank. It would definitely be that Orc. I don't know. They're just orcs. Next up is Bradley Cobden. He's a second question, guys. "Can you strip plastic models? If so, what with?" I have never stripped a plastic model, so I'm not the man to ask. Problem with sort of the harsher stuff on plastics is it does melt them, so just be careful. I think Fairy Liquid Power Spray is the common suggestion. Next up is Dynasty. He says, "Thanks for answering my question. Because of your channel, me and my friend have done our own battle companies, which is good. I really enjoy battle companies. I have a legion of wargs led by the Orc Maldug, his son Malgamor, and his second cousin Alvadug, and the 3 wild wargs Lockjaw, Viken, and their young warg son Cub. Cub's my favourite. I'm doing battle companies. I wonder, what is your favourite race in any fantasy? Not just Lord of the Rings. You can choose anything. Wookiees, for example. Favourite race in any fantasy? It probably is just dwarves. In any fantasy setting, dwarves are just cool. Next up is Rushek. He says, "I just realised when you answered my question last week that I've totally forgotten to add James to the armies I've already played." Oh well. "It's been long winter here, and I think the snow has gotten the better of me. My question this week is, since I play primarily dwarves, do you think the new Thorin is better to lead an army, or the original from the first release?" The original from the first release. They both seem to have advantages depending on the scenario, but what do you think overall? Oh, so new Thorin, sorry, you mean the champion of Erebor. I think the old Thorin, he's just so good for his points. If you wanted to lead an army, then you're going to get more troops with him. Next up is the Avatar of Odin. Various questions concerning the Balrog below reminded me of one I asked some weeks ago. Although that one must have just been after the deadline. So here it is again. How would you upgrade the Balrog profile to be more competitive, terrifying, and simply more interesting to play with or against? Given the scary stuff we've seen from Smaug, what special abilities would you give him, her, it? What role would you want the fiery creature to fulfill? How strong do you think the Balrog should be? Firstly, just give it some might, make it worthwhile. It doesn't need the fate. It's defense 10, is it? 10, 9, and has 10 wounds, so he doesn't need Fate. Well, maybe 1 or 2 points would go amiss. Maybe Willer's Fate. You know, it casts no spells. Yeah, Willer's Fate. Give it 15 will. Make it have Willer's Fate. Give it 3 might. And give him some magical spells. That'd be decent. And something like Barge. Like Smaug's got. So when he barges, he does a strength 6 hit or strength 9 hit on someone. That'd be cool. Also, knock to the ground would be nice for him as well. He is so just big. And 8-inch movement, so that people can't outrun him on foot. Next up is Acthon39. Hi guys, my second comment for the week. I was recently playing the Battle of Eastgate scenario. It was my first time using my dwarves, and I boshed so many times. Dwalin never rolled higher than anything than a 4. He won only 2 fights and killed only 3 orcs. And he lost what felt like 20 fights. If he lost 20 fights, then he did well to survive. It's so annoying, especially with people saying how amazingly good he is and him doing terribly for me. Everyone will have the off game with a hero. He'll average out with all those other games. So anyway, what's the worst game that you've boshed the most times? I know GBHL Damien's will be playing as the troll at the Black Gates, unable to fight 2 hobbits. Yeah, that was spectacular boshing from Damien there. For me, it would be where bosh came from. It was the Red Sun Rises scenario. Definitely worth a watch. I might put that in the description below actually. It's the origin of where bosh comes from. And I just was rolling awfully. Just absolutely awful. And I shouted bosh in the inspiration to try and get the dice to roll well, and they just double wand, and yeah, that was the end. A final comment from Acthon39. He says, I've done some very long ones this week. Jamie must be thrilled. It makes no difference this week, let's be honest. So I've decided that every week I'll ask a nice short question for me. I'm really enjoying your Fellowship of the Ring campaign. Have you thought about continuing the story through the trilogy, keeping certain deaths and profile changes throughout? Yes. P.S. I was really tempted to do an ultra long question for you, Jamie, as requested from James, but I thought you've suffered enough. Thanks. Johnny Graham Beggs says he's got another question. I was thinking of starting up a Lord of the Rings Hobbit SPG YouTube channel. What tips would you give me? Thanks. The big 3 are sort of regular content, interesting content, and just keep at it. You know, the start is very, very slow, and things snowball a lot with YouTube. So, you know, once you get sort of past your first 100 subscribers, which can feel like forever, then, you know, you ask everyone to share, and then, you know, you'll get, things really do start to snowball. And, you know, if there's more Hobbit and SPG communities, there's more searches going through the search bar, you just got to really optimise what your titles are, what your description is, and what tags you put onto the videos. Well, we've gotten a bit lax with our tags recently. I should go through and actually sort them out. So yeah, best of luck with it, and, you know, always let us know. We're happy to do shout outs for channels that are getting started, because we know how hard it was to start up ourselves. Next up is Barad Azakan. He says, we are Belgians. Well, I am English. Good. Next up is James Wilson. He says, hi guys, this is my first question. I love the videos, really helped me get through the painting. However, my question is, what do you think of the Gothmog Pelennor model? As I've recently managed to purchase one from eBay because he is my favourite Lord of the Rings miniature. Gothmog Pelennor, is that the one where he's sort of standing with his arm out? It's alright. It's not particularly dynamic. I'm a fan of dynamic poses rather than sort of stances, as it were, or static stances. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. If it's your favourite model, you'll enjoy painting it. Make sure you do a good job and don't rush it. And if this is your first question, you're now in the loop. You have to ask another question next week. You also ask, what is the GBHL stance on alliances in tournaments? In the Hobbit rulebook it states that any good or evil force can ally to form one army, but I never seem to hear you guys speak of allied forces. Thanks guys. Allied forces are more than, yeah, it's not, your alliances are not as big of a thing as they used to be. You know, everyone just expects forces to be allied. You just bring an army to the table now. There used to be quite strict rules about who you could ally with. Like, there were very strict lists back in the Legions of Middle-earth. I actually quite liked it because it meant you didn't get sort of Reavers with a shade and that kind of nonsense. But it is simpler to write an army now. Yeah, so there's no restrictions on alliances unless there's any put in by the tournament organisers. Next up is David Whittaker, Mr. T-Toast himself. He says, I'm going to hold you to your word on making a separate video regarding recasting the Fellowship. Oh, this is more of James's nonsense. The most important question, though, was clearly which member would you cast as Nicolas Cage? Aragorn. Come on. Easy. On to this week's question. Middle-earth is saved, the ring is destroyed, and Sauron's finally banished forever. Elisar has taken up the throne, and the elves have sailed into the west, never to return. Unfortunately, the peace did not last long, and Middle-earth could not avoid the inevitable zombies. The dead have risen and are feasting on the living all across the now free and peaceful Middle-earth, in which you now happen to live. The elves and the Astari have long since gone, leaving the lands to men in the tunnels, and realms underneath the earth to the dwarves. Yes, there are also dwarf zombies and hobbits for that matter. You've done a Rick Grimes and woken up some kind of coma or really awesome nap after a couple of months into the whole thing, and by this time the virus has spread to all the furthest realms of Middle-earth. My question is, how do you intend to survive? Where do you go? Who do you trust? And what gear do you carry with you? In Middle-earth, now my question is, how do you intend to survive? You've got to start at the basics, so you need to get yourself somewhere safe and try and get in with a group, because groups provide their own problems, but it's always better to have some numbers so you don't have to do everything yourself. So try and find some, a fellowship, you might say. Find a fellowship. Where do you go? Where do I go? Let's have a look at the big map behind me. You don't want to be somewhere too populous. So you don't want to... I'm just going to go check out my Lord of the Rings map behind me. So my initial thought was to go to the Shire, but that's really sort of got a lot of things around it. Go to the Old Forest to find Tom Bombadil. He'll keep you safe. That's what my plan would be. And what gear do I carry with you? I carry no particular gear, so that Tom Bombadil will be my friend. That's my answer for that. Next up, we've got Andreas Forsheim Over. Guess how to pronounce that. Hi there, the Norwegian Viking here again. Thanks for your wonderful comments last week, and a shout out to the community here in Oslo, Norway. Sadly, I will not be able to make the trip to Stockport, but I have made it my early New Year's resolution to invade one of your tournaments next year. Very, very cool. You were dead on about the Spider Queen, though. A combination of me thinking of 10-year-old rules and not having the sense to check the unexpected journey FAQ. My mistake. Maybe it was the named character debate. So since I'm in the loop, here is my question. I recently started a Hunter Orc army and bought Bolgon Warg, and it came with a nifty new oval base. I think it would work. It would look out of place to have only one hero on Warg on this kind of base. I think it would be cool to mount all of my Warg heroes, Azog, Yasneg, etc. on the same base. Is there any restrictions to changing the base sizes for fluff and look? Once again, thanks for all the enthusiasm and keep up the good work. You're meant to base it on the base it's supplied with. However, people tend to not have a problem too much with you increasing the base size. So going from the sort of the 40mm base to the oval base for some of your Warg heroes wouldn't be terrible. I'd allow it at our events, and hopefully other tournament organisers would allow it at theirs. You know, if it goes by the rule of cool. If it's cool enough, then yeah, you're doing it. I think you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not trying to game anything out of it. So yes, that will be fine by me. Next up is Acthon39 again. Great news, guys. This isn't a question, by the way. I think James would strike against the idea of a quadruple loop, but this is just me telling you that I will be going to the desolation of Stockport in April. I'm going to stop you from doing triple loops. I mean, you promised me at the Stockport events. I'm really looking forward to meeting all you guys and playing on my first proper points match. Because I don't have Facebook or anything, I can't look up the details. I know it's in Stockport at the end of April and it's £30 to join, but I'm not sure about anything else, like a payment method, times and rules. James and I will hopefully be doing a video about the tournaments coming up soon, so just keep an eye out for that. But if you send an email to ilovewargaming@gmail.com, then we can send you out all the info and sort out payments for that. Next up is J Akayara22. J22. Hey guys, I got a few questions for you today to stay in the triple loop. Firstly, great work on last week's Speak Friendly question, James. Doing a video by yourself must be so tough. Very well done. Hopefully Jamie will be back this week. Yes, I am back this week. My first question is for James. That's wasted. It's about his wedding. Secondly, what are your opinions of proxies? I know Tom and Damien discussed this one in their early Palantir episodes, but I was curious to know what you guys think and if you allow them or not. No. We, at our tournament, we're quite strict on proxies. We're one of the sort of the stricter independent tournaments that do it, simply because we may be filming things around the time. We don't want to give Games Workshop sort of any reason for send a cease and desist letter by using other companies' models to represent theirs. And it always looks cooler if it's actually Lord of the Rings as well. Lastly, have you ever thought about switching armies for a bat rep? So James letting Jamie use his Rohan Force and Jamie letting James use his Wood Elf Force, as it would be really interesting to see the different tactics that would be used when you're familiar against playing one particular army, but not when you've used that army yourself. Once again, thank you for spoiling us with such great content, and I shall continue to do my best to support our Hobbit hobby. From Jay. Yeah, we've thought about it, but you know, we both know what we're doing. We're not idiots, so the game wouldn't be too different. I just think we'd probably. It'd be interesting to see actually. We might make the odd mistake, commit too early, or try something, shoot the wrong things. You know, thing is, you know your own force's weakness, so you'll hone in on that some more with the force that you've got. Next up is Matt Paterson. He says, thanks for answering my question last week, James. My question this week is I've been playing as Boromir, the Fellowship version, and was wondering why the heck does he have 6 might? Seems a bit cray-cray. It may seem a bit cray-cray, however, he has no fate, so he uses his 6 might to be a real beast and just kill stuff whilst he can survive. That is why. Ross Deagle, by the way, the Belgians are called the Belwegians. Yes. HD Miniatures next. He said, hey guys, been focusing on getting my personal training business up and running and training like mad, so I haven't had much time for all the hobby. Question this week is what style do you play when using evil? Mixed, horde, mounted, magic, etc. Cheers. Cool. I have played the horde. I have played a sort of a shutdowny Angmar force, and I'm really enjoying Angmar at the moment, so I'm probably playing quite magic and special rules heavy currently with evil, and I shall be playing tomorrow, Friday, against Stephen Crow, and I'll be taking my No Might Angmar for 600 points. I'll probably get smashed by his Gondor / special evil army that he's working on for Desolation of Stockport. HD Miniatures also on a related note, James, how is the bulking going? What's the training split like? How did your stag party go? He's got a stag party this weekend, which is he's not feeling well, which is why I'm doing Speak Friendly Question, because he needs to rest up and get ready for it. I unfortunately can't go as I have a friend's wedding to attend. Chris Lee is next. He says, hey, couldn't ask a question last week due to the heavy amounts of high school homework. So here we go. There have been rumours that Games Workshop extended the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit license, but what gets me is they should have just done the Hobbit unless more Lord of the Rings releases. I know the chances are slim, but what are your thoughts? No, there are no more Lord of the Rings releases. They'll have kept the Lord of the Rings license as part of the Hobbit license, that nobody else can buy it from New Line or whoever owns it, Warner Brothers, and can then start making their own Lord of the Rings miniatures. No, I doubt we'll see any more Lord of the Rings, if I am completely honest. You might get a bit more Hobbit, I certainly hope so, but I think Lord of the Rings has well and truly gone. Next up is Chris Lee. He says, hey, couldn't ask a question last week due to the heavy amounts of... Oh, I've just read that one. Is Lord of the Rings SPG team. Would you guys like to see a Feanor and Morgoth models? It'd be cool. Morgoth would have to be huge, unless he's shifted. Carl Woolley says, hey guys, he's been dead to us a few weeks. Bit extreme. So I have a couple of questions backed up and hope that's all good. These sound like good questions. These sound like questions that the channel was made for. Do you know what's up with Fall on the Fat clearly having a war horn but it having no rules or effects? Do you agree? It seems a bit odd. It does seem a bit odd. I thought he should have had just been a regular war horn, but hey ho, I guess not. On another note, for an upcoming 750 point tournament, I'm thinking of taking Aylmer Knight the Pelennor, 4 Sons of Ale, 5 Westfall Red Shields, 1 with a banner, Erkenbrand Eowyn, and a bunker type captain, all on foot, leading 4 Warriors of Rohan, 4 Rohan Rogar with Throne Spear, and 4 Outriders. What do you think of this list? Is it best to spread the bows to ensure shots? No, not reading the last bit. The list itself, so 750 points, you've got Aemon at the Pelennor, 4 Sons, 5 Westfold, 1 with a banner, Erkenbrand Eowyn, and a captain on foot, so 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 might, 3 full warbands, 39, 40, 49 models. It's 49 models, that's a high amount. Plenty of shots, 12, 17 bows, 12 throwing spears. I assume the Warriors of Rohan should have a shield. But yeah, it looks like a decent force. It looks like a nice mixed arms force there, Carl. Best of luck. Let us know how you get on in that tournament. Next up, I'm not reading that name out. Lord of the Rings. I'm glad for one they had Legolas instead of Glorfindel in the Fellowship, I guess. I think he would make the Fellowship too powerful. Also, there probably would have been a rift between him and Boromir immediately, and it would have been taking the focus away from Aragorn unless they had Glorfindel die. I don't know. I would have preferred Balin though. That would have been cool and even better considering he played such a role in The Hobbit. It would have been nice to see them go back to them. I assume you've been talking about the Fellowship with James. Why would there have been a rift between Glorfindel and Boromir? Out of interest. The problem with Glorfindel is that he's this badass elf warrior who would have been far too noticeable having him walk around next to some other pretty big names in the Lord of the Rings world. It would have been far too noticeable for Sauron. He would have just sent everything straight at them. And we're supposed to ask this question. I'll ask 2 because I like to stay on topic, yet ask something else. Will you guys ever consider doing a bolt action back rep? It's a World War II game and the system is phenomenal. Easy to learn with fun rules. Not at this moment in time. We've got plenty of stuff in the pipeline that we need to get done and dusted before we even consider bringing some more games on to our roster of Let's Try Tuesdays. We've been saying we're doing Saga for months, we've not done that. We've had Batman miniatures since we started the channel. We've got Space Hulk, which James bought. Very soon I've got Guild Ball coming in. We need to do what we've got before we plan anything more, if I'm completely honest there. As for a Hobbit related question, what army would you two, or just James, or just Jamie, why not just Jamie, like to know better or play the least successfully? What army would you like to play the least successfully? For example, I would not know how to play the white... Oh, okay, sorry. Which army would you two say you play the least successfully? For example, I would not know how to play the White Council or Arnor very well and would like to improve. For me, it will probably be something like an all-hero list. I really don't enjoy using them, and I don't enjoy playing against them. So if I could learn how to play them better myself, maybe I'd see the attraction to it, but I really just don't like all-hero. Al Wood said, James, you the man, 1 hour 46 minutes of video, I had to watch it over 2 lunch breaks. I'm going to apologise now, this video will not be that long. You were looking weary at the end, and well done mate, Miss Jamie of course, but the real world has a tendency to get in the way. That it does. Blackguard at Urukai, so taking an Isengard Uruk Shaman as an ally is a great idea, giving fury to Blackguard. They are correct. The 3 hunters you painted, James, are stunning. Very nice, sir. I think you guys need to seriously stop the double and triple loops. A speak friend and question just doesn't have the same ring to it. I agree with that point. I like you, Alwood. A question for Jamie. I've collected most of the LEGO Lord of the Rings sets, my daughter has the Hobbit sets, and all the LEGO Xbox games. What is your favourite Lego set? It doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. The Batman tumbler is really cool. There's some other things that have just come into stock that will be coming out soon that is very cool as well. My own personal favourite build that I can think of right now at this very moment, it has to be Weathertop. That was a great little set. It's got some good playability and it looks awesome as well. Keep up the good work, guys. I look forward to speaking for any question each week. Thanks for the great content, Al. You're welcome, Al. No worries. Awesome War Gamers says, hi, my question is, have you ever played War of the Ring? I have, and I didn't enjoy it because it was too easy to break the game, basically. Councillors cancelling councillors. It's like Alfred with infinite will. Also, if I went to a GBHL tournament, could I use Galadriel with Mirkwood Elves? Of course you could. There's no limits on alliances, as mentioned earlier. Oh, we got so close to getting through a speak for an question without one of these. My question this week is, do you think this is a competitive force? Amdur, Lord of Blades on an armoured horse, leading 6 Easterling Cataphracts, an Easterling Captain with shield, with an Easterling Falchion, which is an elven blade, leading 8 Easterling Warriors with shield, 4 Easterlings with pike and shield, an Easterling War Priest, including leading 8 Easterling Archers, an Easterling Dragon Knight. All warriors have the Black Dragon upgrade. Do you think I should change anything, or maybe make the Dragon Knight mounted? And if so, what troops should give up the Black Dragon upgrade? Yes, mount the Dragon Knight, he gets better, and to do that you should drop the Black Dragon upgrade on your front line of shields. Reason being, you've got the Easterling pikes behind that give the fight for to them, and if you're going to break, it's going to be your front line that have died, so then being Courage 3 doesn't make a terrible amount of difference to you. As for competitiveness, Easterlings, as if you've seen our Fallen Realms bid on them, aren't the most competitive army, and they're not my favourite army to discuss, really. But, let's see. How many points is that about? 100, 200, 280... Probably looking at about 500 points, I would guesstimate, maybe, is that? 8, 12, 14, 20... God, I've forgotten how to math. 7, 19, 20, 29, 30 models. I think models isn't too bad actually, and they're all decent defence. I wouldn't say it's the most competitive, but it's certainly going to be good to use against armies. You'll struggle against things that are defence 6, and things that are strength 4 will go through you quite quick, is my only concerns in that force. Next up is Jack Berry. He says, hi guys, my question this week is, are there any good techniques on painting horses to a decent standard? Go check out the SBG magazine, they've got a great article on horses in there. I seem to struggle with them when it comes to painting horses to a good standard. I wonder if there are any good methods or ways to paint horses, as I am currently painting my Rivendell Knights. Thanks as always for the great content. Yep, just go check out the SBG magazine and see their Painting Horses Masterclass by our own sponsors, Shadow and Flame. And next up is Barry O'Neill. He says, hi guys, it's been a while, but just wanted to wish you a fantastic stag weekend in Galway, James. I'm sure you'll have an amazing time. And Jamie, just wondering what you thought of Weathertop after. Was it as you expected? I was worried with you filming the scenarios in London that you might not have been able to bring it with you, but after the little cameo in the Bucklebury Ferry one, I'm really looking forward to how it worked for the scenarios. Well, you'll see how much we enjoyed using it, Barry, and I can't thank you enough for making that. It is absolutely incredible, and I'm hoping that Damien remembers it in April to bring it back. Next up is Wang11. He says, hi guys, thanks for answering my question last week. You've recently got me back into the hobby, so thank you. My question is, how do you feel about an all-mounted Gondor force, including Faramir and Boromir on horse, and 15 Knights of Minas Tirith? Thanks. I've discussed this in a previous video, I believe, but all-mounted Gondor just doesn't have the capabilities like Rohan do. So, yeah, I don't know. Give it a go, but I don't think you'll be as impressed with it as you are hoping for. Next up is Christian Sirp Jensen. You're absolutely right, James. It was the Anduin River where Isildur lost the ring. And I agree, you don't get a point by default when Jamie... And I agree, you do get a point by default when Jamie can't show up. Haha. So the current score is 2-0 to James. What's this about? On to this week's question of Middle-earth madness. The first person to say the correct answer gets a point. What was the original name as Minas Morgul? It was Minas Ithil. 2-2. As always, thanks for the great content, you guys rock. Next up is Lonely Cube 1. He says, hi James, and hopefully Jamie. Sorry I missed the last couple of weeks, but I'm back now. I have 2 questions today. This first is quite simple, but I can't find the answer in the Hobbit rulebook. Can a hero use its fate to a possible... I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. Can a hero use its fate points to avoid wounds on its mount? No, it can't. I assumed that it could, but now that I think of it, I don't actually know if this is possible. No, you can't. No, sorry. No. Only Azog and the White Warg may do that because of a special rule. My second question is about the Command and Compel magical power. In its description it says it can even force the victim to drop an item that it's holding. Does this mean, for example, I could compel Aragorn to make him drop Anduril, leaving him unarmed for the rest of the fight? No. It means you can make it drop an object it's carrying, such as a light object from Seize the Prize, or, you know, if you've got certain objectives in the scenario. That's mainly based for scenario stuff where you might be carrying something off. These are pretty simple yes-no questions this week, so you're welcome, Jamie. Thank you very much. Seriously though, thanks for your help, both of you. And there's another message to James. Faith in Heresy. Next up, he says, thanks for answering my question last week. I have found some of the alternate winter colour schemes considered for Thranduil's host in the Battle of 5 Armies, and I'm tempted to try them out. My question this week is, I'm entering a local GW tournament, and I want to know if my list is decent, as this is my first time playing competitively. My list is Gandalf the Grey on horse, Elladan and Elrohir on horse with heavy armour, and 4 groups of Rangers of the North with 4 Rangers of Arnor. Thanks and keep up the work. So, the 4 Rangers of the North can't actually lead troops. Elladan and Elrohir can lead 11 Rangers, so you've got 1 Ranger too many, unfortunately, there. So maybe give Elladan and Elrohir bows to make up for that one guy missing, but your Rangers of the North can't lead troops, they're independent heroes. Next is 19 Mark F91. Hello Mark. Hey guys, back in the old Lord of the Rings rules, I'm pretty sure the spell Blinding Light lasted until the caster runs out of will. Now it seems you have to channel the spell to get this ability, as the unchanneled version only lasts 1 turn. Just wondered if this made a big impact on players who use the spell. And also, your views on how best to use the spell, channeled or unchanneled. Cheers guys, and happy strategy battle game. You're correct Mark, it did used to be like that. You used to just cast it until you ran out of will. Now, it does the exact same, but only lasts a turn if you are casting it unchanneled. I use it with Gladriel a lot, and I always channel it because it's just convenient to have around. I know of other players, mainly David Reed and I had a conversation about this. He had Gandalf and would cast it. It's cast on I think a 2+ or a 3+, so it's very likely to get off, and he casts it with the free one. My sort of concern with that is that I've got a very good chance of doing it, but if you roll a 1 and the opponent can take advantage of this and shoot you out, then you need to spend that point of might to keep the spell up, which you might as well have just used the point of might to channel it, was my concern. Well, especially we're both Wood Elf players, so you know we were debating it. But yeah, I'm a fan of channeling that spell. Just so, you know, you do it once early game, you don't have to, you know, worry about it later on, and it frees you up to start immobilising things earlier. And finally, we've got Jack Hartwell. He says, hi guys, thanks for answering my question last week. It helped to clear things up for me. So now that I'm in the loop, I suppose I have to ask another question. So this week, I was hoping to get both of your opinions on Grimhammers. Do you think they are an effective troop choice comparing to something like Khazad-Guard? Compared to Khazad-Guard, no, they're not. They're awful. I personally can't make my mind up yet. Thanks guys, and looking forward to hear your response. Well, the Grimhammers aren't terrible. You know, they get a bad rap because they're compared to Khazad-Guard, who are very, very good for their points. Yeah, you know, they can pierce and strike without too much risk. They've got thrown weapons. They come in a nice army list. They've got good heroes to lead them. I played against them in Mansfield with Damien, and you know they were sort of, when we were shooting, they suffer the problem that Defence 6 dwarves have, where they're the easy dwarves to kill because you only need 6s with shooting, whereas against the others you need 6s by 4s with your strength 2 bows. So they do have some negatives, and you know when used in the kill team they can be great. One person knocks you over, the other one piercing strikes and gets the double strikes. Next turn, if you're not dead already, they'll both go in and piercing strike. So there is a bit of a use to them, but not when you compare it to Kazagard. And that, everyone, is the end of this week's Speak Friend in Question. I hope you all enjoyed it. Apologies again that you've got me. Yeah, be sure to comment, like, share and subscribe. Support your hobby, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And happy strategy battle gaming.